Ever feel like the market's out to get you? Some traders say it's not the market, it's something darker, inside you. Strange habits, reckless clicks, blown accounts. Sound familiar? There's a reason. Stay tuned, we're exposing the truth behind trading meltdowns. Don't miss out. Hit subscribe and uncover what's really happening. The hidden enemy traders don't see. So let's get right into it. Most traders think the biggest threat is the market, the charts, the volatility, the economic data. But what if the real threat isn't external? What if the most dangerous thing in trading is the trader? I once knew someone. Let's call him Adam. Smart guy, worked in finance, top of his class. But when he moved into trading, he blew his first 3 accounts in under 6 months. Each time, he swore he'd learned his lesson. Each time, he came back more determined, more prepared, only to repeat the same cycle. He didn't realize it then, but the problem wasn't his strategy. It wasn't the market either. It was something deeper, something happening inside. Why discipline isn't always enough. Here's where it gets tricky. We're taught to believe that discipline is the solution. Just follow the rules, stick to your plan, and you'll be fine. Right? Well, Adam had rules. He journaled. He stuck post-its on his screen. He even had alarms to remind him when not to trade. And still, he'd slip. A trade would go red, and suddenly he was doubling down, chasing, overtrading. It wasn't because he was careless. It's because discipline, when forced, is fragile. It works until pressure arrives. And once your emotions take over, all those systems you built, they quietly disappear. You don't need more rules. You need to understand why you keep breaking them in the first place. The market exposes, it doesn't punish. Here's something nobody told me when I started trading. The market doesn't care about your goals. It doesn't care how hard you worked on your system. It doesn't even care how many wins you've had. What it does is reflect. The market reflects your decisions under pressure. It exposes your reactions when money is on the line. It pulls out the version of you that shows up when everything's at stake. And sometimes that version isn't who you thought you were. I remember a guy in our community, David, super logical, back-tested everything. But the moment he was down on a trade, logic went out the window. His true self showed up, fearful, reactive, desperate to fix the mistake. That's what the market does. It doesn't punish you. It shows you who you really are. Meet the 5 faces of a trader. Now let's talk about something that might surprise you. You're not one trader. That sounds weird, right? But if you've ever acted completely out of character during a trading session, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Some days you're a sniper, patient, focused, calculating. Other days you're jumping into setups with no confirmation, chasing green candles like they owe you something. Then there's the revenge trader, the anxious overthinker, the hopeful dreamer. You switch between these versions based on how you feel. And here's the kicker. All of them have access to your capital. Until you become aware of which version is trading in the moment, you'll keep getting inconsistent results. Not because your system is broken, but because you keep changing mid-game. Your 3 brains behind every click. Let's take it a step further. This one's backed by neuroscience. You don't just trade with one brain, you actually have 3, evolutionarily speaking. First is the reptile brain, your oldest brain. It's fast, instinctive, and obsessed with survival. When the market spikes against you, this part of your brain fires instantly. Your body floods with stress. Your hands sweat. Your vision narrows. Logic, gone. Then there's the mammal brain, the emotional one. This part cares about safety, approval, and comfort. It remembers how bad that last loss felt and begs you not to feel that way again. And finally, the human brain, the one you wish was in charge. This is where logic lives. Strategy, planning, journaling. The problem is, under pressure, this brain gets shut out. When your body feels threatened, your rational mind goes offline. So when you're wondering why you keep making irrational trades, the answer is, you're not irrational. You're just trading with the wrong brain. Here's where most traders go wrong. They try to fix performance with knowledge. More videos, more indicators, more PDFs. But you don't need more information. You need to train your nervous system. I once worked with a trader named Nina. Every time she had a green week, she'd end up giving it back the following Monday. She wasn't lacking discipline. She was lacking emotional range. So we changed her approach. Instead of tweaking her system, we worked on her body. Cold showers, deep breathing, all-ins before sessions. Not for motivation, but to condition her response to stress. Within weeks, she was unshakable. Same system, same charts, different outcome, because she was a different version of herself. the hidden risk of a big win. Let's shift gears. You probably think losing is the biggest risk in trading. But what if winning is more dangerous? See, when you lose, you stay cautious, you stay alert. But after a big win, your brain whispers, "You've got this now." That's when mistakes happen. A trader I know, Tom, made $20,000 in 1 week, felt on top of the world. Next week, he lost $35,000. Why? Because he stopped following his process. He thought he was the edge. That's the trap of success. It doesn't scream, it seduces. If you don't meet success with the same humility you met failure, it will undo you. Are you actually trading or just chasing thrills? Now let's talk about something uncomfortable. Addiction. No, not in the way people usually imagine it. I'm talking about the thrill of trading, the rush, the constant stimulation, the what if of a moving market. There's a trader I spoke to recently, Emma. She wasn't overtrading because she was greedy. She was overtrading because she was bored. She needed to feel something. Even when there was no setup, she'd open charts just to see. That's not a strategy. That's a craving. And once you start trading for stimulation instead of structure, you're no longer trading the market. You're trading your need for escape. The market is a mirror, and it's brutally honest. You ever wonder how two traders can look at the same chart and see completely opposite things? One sees opportunity, one sees danger. That's because you're not really seeing the chart. You're seeing your internal state reflected back at you. I remember 1 week where everything looked chaotic to me. Every setup felt risky. I stepped back and asked myself, what's going on? Turns out it wasn't the market. My personal life was messy. I brought that energy to the screen, and sure enough, the charts reflected it. Once I calmed down and centered myself, the same market started to look clear again. You don't trade the market, you trade your emotions. Every candlestick is just light on a screen, until your feelings get involved. Focus on identity, not just results. Let me ask you something personal. When you lose, does it feel like a trade? Or a personal failure? For a long time, I couldn't separate the two. If my trade failed, I felt like a failure. Then I met a trader who changed everything for me. She said, "I'm not trying to win trades anymore. I'm trying to become the kind of person who naturally trades well." That mindset shift, game changer. When you focus on becoming calm, focused, and steady, the profits follow. But if you only focus on profit, the stress will undo all your progress. Trading isn't just about outcomes, it's about identity. Play the infinite game. Let's slow this down for a moment, because this might be the most important mindset shift of your entire trading journey. Most traders get stuck playing what's called a finite game. Everything revolves around hitting a short-term goal. If I can just make $200 today, if I can just get back to break even this week, if I can just double my account. And sure, having goals can be useful, but here's the trap. Every goal has an ending, a finish line. And when you tie your emotional state to that finish line, every little fluctuation feels like a personal crisis. I'll give you a real example. I knew someone named Daniel, super driven, competitive. He came into trading with a single goal, turn $5,000 into $50,000 by the end of the year. He mapped it all out, weekly targets, monthly milestones, everything. At first it worked. His first 2 months were solid, confidence grew. He even started celebrating on social media, talking about his 50K journey. But then you can probably guess what happened. A bad week hit, then another. Suddenly, he was off track. And because he tied his identity to that 50K finish line, every loss wasn't just a trade gone wrong. It was proof that he was failing. By the 4th month, Daniel was so desperate to catch up that he started breaking every rule he had written. Bigger sizes, riskier trades, chasing every setup, even when his system screamed, "Stay out." By month 5, he'd blown his account. Not because he was a bad trader, but because he played a finite game. Now compare that to traders who play the infinite game. I worked with a trader named Sarah. She didn't care about short-term milestones. She didn't set dollar targets. Her only focus, getting 1% better every day. Her questions were different. Instead of, "How much can I make this month?" she asked, "How much calmer can I stay this week?" Instead of, "When will I make 6 figures?" she asked, "How can I reduce my reaction to losses?" Her focus wasn't on outcomes, it was on evolution. And that changed everything. Her trades became more selective. Her drawdowns became shorter, her wins more consistent. She knew there was no finish line to reach, only a path to walk, one step at a time. And funnily enough, after 18 months of this mindset, She quietly crossed 6 figures in profits without obsessing over it. That's the irony. When you stop chasing, you start winning. Let's break it down simply. Finite game traders are always sprinting. They burn out. They crash. They quit. Infinite game traders are walking a path. They adjust. They adapt. They evolve. The finite game says, win fast. The infinite game says, win forever. And here's where it gets powerful. You can apply this to every part of your trading. Had a losing day? That's not failure. That's feedback. Had a winning week? Great. Reset, stay humble, and continue. Blown a small account? Okay. What lesson did it reveal about your habits, your emotions, your discipline? In the infinite game, there's no such thing as starting over, because you're always building on what you've learned. You start realizing your real edge in the market isn't your strategy. It's your ability to stay in the game long enough to let your skills compound. Think about it. How many traders do you know who had a few good months, maybe even a great year, but then vanished? How many YouTube channels have you seen go from daily updates to complete silence after a bad streak? That's the finite game in action. Now think about traders who've been here 5 years, 10 years, quietly stacking gains, never blowing up, never quitting. That's the infinite game mindset. They aren't trying to outsmart the market. They're trying to outlast everyone else. Let's bring this home. Maybe the market isn't out to get you. Maybe it's just trying to show you something about how you react, about what you believe, about who you are when things get tough. So here's your challenge. Before your next trade, ask yourself, am I trading from clarity or from chaos? Are you reacting or responding? Are you following your plan or your emotions? Drop your answer in the comments. I really want to hear from you. What part of this video hit the hardest? What version of yourself shows up when the pressure rises? And if you're ready to go deeper into mastering your mindset, not just your strategy, watch this next video. I'll walk you through specific exercises to train your emotions, calm your brain, and finally break the cycle. Remember, the market doesn't define your future. You do. Let's keep growing, one conscious trade at a time.